So, I want to talk about creative dreaming in a dystopia. I was thinking back to 2020 during the second wave of lockdowns that we had in Canada. I made a new video for my dream book program called Dream Book in the Pandemic. And I have been thinking a lot about how does this work apply in times of shit, right? Whatever kind of shit, right? And I realized, a lot of what I've done over the years with my work is try to look at ways and create tools that help us do the work of creative dreaming even when shit is happening in our lives. And it's not really that different. Those approaches aren't really that different when the shit that's happening is like global. And well, the word that comes to mind is unrelenting, right? So I'm just in a weird place in my life also, right? I turned 50, I'm starting a new decade, and it's felt, especially the last couple years of my 40s, it felt like, oh, I want to be different in my 50s. Like there's a new vibe coming in, right? There's a lot that a lot of people have said about midlife. I feel like I've had several midlife crises and existential crises, the way that my perspective has changed and just how trippy life gets. A lot of that going on. Of course, am getting a divorce. It's a big change. On top of the gigantic world changes. So I've been reflecting a lot on personally, what do I even want to do? And does this work feel meaningful and purposeful and valid, like needed? And do I want to do it? I've been kind of going through every part of my life and being like, do I even want this? To check, like, maybe everything wants to change, right? When I started the Creative Dream Incubator, and it became my full-time work at the beginning of 2011, but I had been working towards that for a while, part-time. So at that time, this was the most meaningful and fulfilling thing that I could do. I was just in love with it and excited, and everything felt simpler, but this felt important and meaningful. And reflecting on everything, my work has changed over the years. I think it's gotten so much better. Obviously, I've had now 14 years full time to really focus on developing my work. I fucking love where I'm at with it now. But again, I wanted to give myself permission to say, like, if this isn't for me anymore, that's okay, right? And all the reflection brought me to this place of really knowing that this is still the most meaningful and fulfilling thing for me personally. This is what I want to do. I have shared, like, I'm kind of reprioritizing my time around making more time for art. But that doesn't even change anything in terms of what it looks like with what I'm doing with the Creative Dream Incubator. But also when I reflect on the changes in the world and how I want to contribute and what I want to offer, I actually want to do this more than I ever have. I think creative dreaming is more relevant than it's ever been. I think our dreams fucking matter. Like, there's so much that I have said and shared over the years about looking at how does the culture we live in and the way we grow up in it, how does that impact our ability to believe in ourselves? So over time, my understanding of my work and also the work that all creatives do has really changed, and I understand how much art impacts culture. And so, I'm really seeing the places where culture, and especially the culture that I grew up in and people my age grew up in, but it's not that different now. All the ways that culture kind of seeds self-doubt, and this gets kind of drilled into us in ways that become quite unconscious, but we are pushed to conform. there's a fear, like when we think about following our creative dreams, there's a real fear there, because we're supposed to follow some kind of traditional career path in order to be given financial security and safety, which somehow is supposed to guarantee us a good and happy life. When you think about the nature of life, and when you think about why you are here, when you think about what an incredible gift and mystery it is to be alive, could it be that you're here to choose one of the career paths that support dominant culture and keep capitalism running well, right? I think our creative dreams, and this has always been a part of my work, and it feels more and more true over time, that our creative dreams are a way that our soul speaks to us. It's a way of connecting to what feels really true about ourselves and about our lives. So I'm an artist and I'm a writer, and so I feel best when I'm making art and writing. And also what I've noticed for myself is I feel best when I am sharing that also, like that's a part of it. It doesn't have to be, though. Everyone is different, right? Like when you're really listening to your creative dream, so you're listening to your soul saying, hey, this feels good for you, this is for you. It's like one way that I've described it is that your creative dreams are how your soul lights up your path for you and shows you this is the way. So for some people, it's like making art alone in your room and never sharing it. That feels good. One of the ways that dominant culture influences us is that it puts us in this race to succeed financially, and that the best artists are the ones who make the most money and have the most win whatever particular awards that you're supposed to win. There's this sense of it's a thing that dominant culture is constantly doing to us, and it comes from supremacist thinking, right? And supremacist values, that there's one best. And so you want the artist who has their work in the best gallery is better than the artist who just posts their work on Instagram and gets 2 likes, right? That's dominant culture. That's not truth. There is no better than. And your dreams are really valid regardless of what rewards they are going to get for you from within the capitalist systems that we live in. And so at a time when the political and economic systems we live in are you could say they're falling apart. You could say they are being torn apart. We're in a time of chaos and change. It just feels to me that getting more grounded in soul and what feels true for you to be doing, that just feels more important than ever. And harder than ever, because it's fucking scary what's happening out there. And so having the courage, the mental clarity, and the creative energy to go after something that's hard right now, that is hard. And that brings me back to my original questions about my path and my work. And I've always recognized how hard that is and looked for ways to make it easier. And that's what I'm going to keep doing. So to sum up, creative dreaming in a dystopia is harder than it's ever been, more important than it's ever been. Like, your dream matters. Whatever things light you up and feel right are things for you to pursue. I think there's also a lot to be said, and it's a completely different conversation, about how we are contributing to culture. And as so much is falling apart and changing, we're in such a powerful position to create new and better culture, and the importance of intersectionality in that. And there's so much amazing work happening there. You know, I'm terrified for the next couple of years at least, but I also I feel so much hope, and I see so many people doing such good work to create a world where we take care of each other. Your dreams still really matter. The things you feel called to do, just because they feel so hard right now doesn't make them any less vital. And that when we do find the smallest way to engage with them, that helps. So I mentioned the mental clarity and the creative energy, and the courage and confidence. Having all of that feels harder than ever right now. But when we find little places to work on it and little places to take steps, that helps bolster all of it. So the big dream might feel like too much, so we're breaking things down and finding smaller ways. I also added a whole new program into Dreambook in the last 2 years called Space Making, and it is for when you're too overwhelmed to even think about creative dreaming, making space for it. There's always a next step, because your creative dreams are your soul showing you your path, and that the process can be healing and generative. So it's never a good idea to wait. It's always a good idea to find the way that fits where you actually are. And I am more committed than ever to supporting you in doing that.